Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. In the prior verse, we saw Noah being introduced as one who's kind of caught the eye of God. He stands out amid the bleakness of humanity that's spiraling into sin. And now we're going to really introduce the full Noah narrative here. He's going to occupy our attention for the next 4 chapters, Genesis 6, for the rest of it, 7, 8, and 9. And so here is, in a certain sense, his major introduction to the scene. Hautai de haik geneses Noe. Noe anthropos dikaios. Teleos on en te genea autu. To theo hure restesin Noe. And immediately you'll notice that Noah is mentioned 3 times because he is now taking center stage here. Hautai here is, of course, the nominative plural feminine of the demonstrative pronoun, so it is playing a discourse function of really introducing this next word here. So these, the de here is marking an advance in the narrative, and the proper subject here is hai geneses. That's the plural of genesis, and so it's these are the generations, if you will. And we saw this word, so this is generation, or sometimes it's genealogy. So we'll go with generation here. But it was introduced in 2:4 to talk about the generations of heaven and earth. It was also used to describe the generations of Adam. And in those prior videos, we connected that also to Matthew 1:1, the generations of Jesus, or this is the book of the Genesis. So there's this running Genesis theme throughout Genesis. So this is now the 3rd cycle of generations, if you will. And it's the Genesis of Noah. And so now we're going to find out more about who he is. So Noah, anthropos, so he was a man, dikaios. So this is going to be in predicate position. You're going to have to throw an is in here, but I guess I would say this would be a was, given the narrative framework. So Noah was righteous. And then we have teleos. Teleos is interesting. It means complete. You can even see the telos there. Sometimes it means mature. And the Masoretic has tamim, which can also mean complete or mature, sometimes even perfect. It's used to describe Abraham in chapter 17. In fact, it's in Matthew 5:48, where Jesus says, be perfect, be teleos, as your heavenly Father is also teleos. There's a participle on here. This is the nominative singular masculine present participle of me. So the sense is he was righteous, being complete, being mature, dare we even say being perfect. Now we have to pause again and say that doesn't mean that he never sins. He will indeed sin in this narrative. It just means that he stands out. He is someone who is walking with the Lord, if you will, and that's what makes him really the one who is fitting for God to exercise his redemptive purposes through him. How he became dikaios, how he became teleos, of course, that's the work of God. It's not his own self-effort. But it just shows you, again, it's a nice description. He was a faithful one walking with the Lord, and so on. You don't have to necessarily say he's already justified by faith or whatnot. In fact, when we get into Noah's faith in Hebrews 11, we'll talk about that down the road. He's commended for his faith in following God's word and building the ark. But anyway, not to belabor the point, he was perfect in his generation. That means he stands out among those who are going very much astray. So it's what we really all should aspire to, really. And then lastly, the verb here, euerestesin. We've seen this before. This was used to describe Enoch in 5:22 through 24. It's a 3rd singular aorist active indicative. It means to be pleasing, as we saw back then in those prior videos. So Noah was pleasing to God. And so really interesting attributes. He is righteous. He is complete, mature, or in some sense morally upright, and he is pleasing to the Lord. And so now God is going to work through him to advance his purposes. I want to just drill in very briefly. We'll come back to this passage down the road. When Noah is described as dikaios, it's quite interesting. I think Peter picks up on this in 2 Peter. He refers to the flood. If he, that is God, did not spare the ancient world when he brought the flood on its ungodly people, which I suppose refers to, obviously, this ungodly generation, he protected Noah, a preacher of righteousness. Now, it's the noun form as opposed to the adjectival form. And so that's the main place where we actually see this dikaios word in the Genesis narrative. So perhaps the righteousness of Noah, the uprightness of Noah is now being carried through in terms of his warning to his generation and so forth. So kind of interesting little connection there. He also mentions the 7 others, and so that's going to point forward to the sons and their wives, and that's going to take us to the next verse in Genesis. So stay tuned for that.